This is a scholarly book.
Well,
no, wait.
Allegedly, that's right. That's right.
This is a
it's academics,
book.
it's PhDs that did it. It's a university textbook.
Now, if you've ever read anything scholarly, like read Progressivism, the history of modern liberalism, it's a nightmare, and it's full of footnotes. There are no footnotes.
They say at the end, their quote is, "We have dispensed with the usual scholarly apparatus of footnotes." Trust us, we're PhDs. We know what we're talking about.
Right.
None of these guys believed in God.
You have the largest collection in private hands of American papers and documents prior to 1800?
Prior to 1812.
Prior to 1812. Okay. Let's continue to go here to number 4.
Benjamin Rush, he's considered one of the 3 most significant founders. John Adams said when he died that you had George Washington, Ben Franklin, Benjamin Rush. We've never heard of the guy today. Benjamin Rush, let me pull his stuff right here. Benjamin Rush is the man who founded the first Bible Society in America. He did the first mass-produced Bible in America. He founded the Sunday school movement in America. He's called the father of public schools under the Constitution. He started 5 universities. This is his book on starting schools in America, and he says if we ever take the Bible out of schools, we're going to spend all of our time and money fighting crime when we could solve it by teaching the Bible in schools. Jeez. So there's the number 3 founding father, according to John Adams.
When did this go awry?
It went awry right after World War II. Right after World War II, we stopped teaching this in our textbooks, and today we've been taught this knothead stuff from these professors, and this is what we think truth is, but here's truth.
Number 5.
Stephen Hopkins, you can tell by the hat the guy's religious. He is a Quaker. He is a devout Orthodox Quaker. He's a really cool guy, outspoken in his faith. He wrote several religious treatises back in 1765 to show why we were about to separate from Great Britain, using the scriptures to make his point.
Number 6, this guy.
Right there, he's a fun guy. That's Robert Treat Paine. He's the Attorney General of Massachusetts, but he is a military chaplain. He's an ordained minister. He had churches and taught in churches, and the way he served in the military was he was a chaplain for the troops, so he preached to the troops.
How did we get to this point? Well, I mean, look at this. Just look at this section. Look at this section. Look how many are deeply, deeply religious.
Yeah.
How did we get to the point to where, no, these are...
Well, what happens today is we know Jefferson and Franklin and nobody else on that. We've been taught to recognize the least religious, and we've been taught that, all of them are like Jefferson and Franklin.
And they weren't the least.
And they weren't. You know, if you take even Jefferson and Franklin, there's no question that those guys are a whole lot more religious in their public expressions.
The problem was they didn't, correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't necessarily believe in the organized religion that was jammed down your throat, where it was, I got to baptize you in the name of Jesus, and there's no other truth.
That's right.
That's what they didn't believe.
But they were not secular. They were not anti-God. They were not even anti-Christian. As a matter of fact, the way they do it, Jefferson has 19,000 written letters. There are 6 letters in which he raises some questions about Orthodox Christian teachings. Everybody focuses on the 6. They don't touch the 19,000. So that's the way they make these guys look bad. All
right. So now we go to, I think, this guy.
That is James Wilson. James Wilson signed both the Declaration and the Constitution. He's one of 6 guys to sign both.
This is a younger version of him.
That's right. And you can spot him in both times because he's the only guy that wears glasses and signing in the founding pictures. So he's got glasses. He is an original Supreme Court justice. He started the first law school in America. This is the first law book that was ever used in law schools, and he did this.
Any relationship to Woodrow Wilson?
No, not at all.
God.
But this guy, he tells students, and it's in that book, that you cannot have good civil law that excludes divine law. If you cut the scriptures out of civil law, you'll not have good civil law. And that's what he's teaching in court.
Isn't it Deuteronomy that is the most quoted out of any of our founding documents, right? It's not Locke, it's nothing.
That's right.
Deuteronomy.
The political science professors found that when they looked at all the writings the founders used and relied on and quoted, and there were 15,000 writings they used, they found 3,154 quotes. The most quoted source was the Bible. 34% of their quotes came out of the Bible. The most quoted book in the Bible was the book of Deuteronomy.
Which is basically the Mosaic Law.
That's right. That's right. Exactly right.
When we say we're Judeo-Christian, it doesn't mean you have to go to this church or anything else.
These principles.
This is the law.
That's right.
This is the thing that we bring up in the, on the American revival that we're doing when we're talking about faith is the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
America, who disagrees with the 10 Commandments? Thou shalt not kill. Here's one, Jim Wallace. Thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. Don't covet. don't have false idols. The problem with America is we have false idols. We worship the almighty dollar or our house or our car or whatever our neighbor has. I mean, that's the problem.
What's interesting is it's easier, up until the last 20 years when the courts got involved in this, it was easier to find the Ten Commandments in a government building than a church building. And that's because we use the Ten Commandments as a basis of civil law in the Western world, has been for 2,000 years. These guys definitely did it.
Okay, this guy.
That guy right there is Francis Hopkinson. He's the guy who designed the American flag. He's one of our very first federal judges. Got a really cool book of his right here. He did this book, 1767. It's America's first purely American hymn book. He took the entire book of Psalms and set the book to music. So this is America's first hymn book done by signer of the Declaration, the entire book of Psalms set to music. And if you know the Bible, you know Psalms 119 is really long. It is 62 pages long in this hymn book. One hymn, 62 pages.
This guy, these guys, just looking at this now, these guys would be deemed un-American.
Oh, yeah. They're part of the radical religious extreme, right, whatever the stuff is out there, they call them. Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
This is John Adams here, isn't it?
John Adams is a lot of fun. You know, HBO did...
Oh, he looks like it.
Well, yeah, right. HBO did a special on him and managed to leave out his faith. I've got a really cool letter from John. Let me get that letter.
Relationship to Sam.
A cousin, distant cousin,
okay.
Distant cousin. This is the letter from John Adams. This is a letter he wrote to Benjamin Rush, who was a good friend. And this stuff right here,
Wait. You have to tell this story from the beginning.
Yes.
I know we're rushing through stuff, but you have to tell this story from the beginning. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson.
Benjamin Rush.
Right. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, they're friends at first.
They were great friends.
Great friends. And then they have so many disagreements that they have a falling out. They can't even speak to each other. He only becomes president because he says this guy's destroying it.
Yeah.
Correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so there's a falling out. Wait until you hear the rest of the story and then what's in that letter. We'll do that next.